a beautiful gift for the French ambassador. That's the gift right there. That's the gift that we have for French ambassador.
This video from South Africa, which has been trending online, where protesters are seen carrying a coffin and taking it to French ambassador in South Africa as a gift. In the video, the protesters are saying that they are tired of French imperialism in Africa, and it is time for France to leave Africa completely because of the sins they have committed in Africa, especially Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger and Guinea. Listen to this video.
We are here at the French embassy to make our declaration as the African Continental Unity Party. We have a beautiful gift for the French ambassador. That's the gift right there. That's the gift that we have for French ambassador and for the entire French system in Africa. We want to say we are tired of French imperialism. This is a symbol of all our deaths that French has killed by sanctions, by war, by imperialism. And we're coming with this gift to deposit here and to say it's done with the imperialism. Before we give you this beautiful gift that you're going to have to give to your boss, the ambassador. The reason why we are here, sorry?
I think it was
No, this all the gift. This all the gift. And I'm going to explain to you the reason why.
Christmas came early, my brother.
All the people that you see here are students. But the most important thing is that they don't know what to expect in the future. But the French kids who are going to school just like you, they know already when they finish the school, they have a job, they have a house, they have a lot of things, right? And what makes that possible simply because France, since 1960s, has been exploiting 14 countries in Africa, taking $400 billion out of Africa to prepare the future of French children. Why the African children like you, out of school, you don't have a hope. You don't know what's going to happen when you finish the school. That's why we are here in this generation, where we say we are at the point of no return, where we say that is a unity of Africa, and it is the time that Africa is standing up to rebuild itself as a global power base. And in that process, we say France, America.
This is not the first time we have seen French ambassadors being ordered to leave Africa. Few weeks ago, thousands of Nigerians gathered near France's military base in Niamey to celebrate the departure of French ambassador, about a month after the military junta ordered him to leave. Meanwhile, cheers to all who stood strongly with Niger and made their voices heard. We all did it together, and this is the spirit of the emerging new Africa, where religion, tribe, culture, country or creed means nothing as long as we're Africans. We're just one big African family, and we pray for more colonial Iroquois to fall in our land.
People in Niger burning a French flag, attacking the French embassy and surrounding a French military base. Do these scenes mark the end of French power in West Africa? And what did that power even look like? Algerian-French journalist Nabila Ramdani explains.
France has effectively maintained a quasi-empire in Africa through its military presence, its political advisors, its cultural ties, and indeed its economic interests.
But this quasi-empire looks like it's crumbling, and the July 26th coup in Niger marked the loss of another key French ally in West Africa. Niger's coup leaders want to join other former French colonies like Burkina Faso and Mali, both ruled by military governments that oversaw the removal of French military presence in their countries.
Nigerians, like so many Africans, are now rejecting France-Afrique with just as much fervor as their forebears came to reject the official French Empire.
France-Afrique is a term used to describe France's complex network of ties to its former African colonies, or rather its neo-colonial power dynamic with those countries.
The French effectively wanted to hold on to their strategic military bases, as well as energy resources, but also favorable trade deals, and indeed financial control.
Niger is the world's 7th largest uranium producer and one of France's main uranium suppliers. But despite its rich resources, over 40% of Niger's population lives in poverty, surviving on around $2 per day. But what else is driving this anti-French sentiment?
You still also have the lingering influence of military and government advisors from Paris who have been permeating successive administrations in Niger, not least of all the one that has just been deposed. Just as importantly, French remains the official language for 25 million Nigerians.
Quick side note, Niger's neighbor Mali, also an ex-French colony, just voted to remove French as its official language.
But I would contend that the most enduring legacy of French colonialism is the CFA franc. It is a currency that was once pegged to the French franc, but it is now pegged to the euro. And it effectively gives France monetary hegemony over several African states, including Niger.
Another reason why anti-French sentiment has grown is because French military efforts have failed to stop armed groups in the region, affiliated with Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Niger's coup leaders are demanding the exit of roughly 1,500 French troops from the country, and the outcome for more than 1,100 US and European troops remains unknown. And though France is losing favor and facing backlash across the region, the verdict is still split. Niger is facing major sanctions, and many West African countries backed by the US and France are ready to launch an armed intervention to restore the ousted president. But while many different interests compete for power amid instability, why won't France let West Africa go?
Support for French meddling into African affairs was always encouraged by the United States. Former French colonies were seen by the Americans as bastions against the Soviet Union's geopolitical influence during the Cold War. The garrisons were originally said to be defending Africa against the spread of communism, but French economic interests were always the priority.
We can no longer continue to make policy for ourselves, in our country, in our region, in our continent, on the basis of whatever support the Western world or France or the European Union can give us. It will not work. It has not worked, and it will not work. Our responsibility is to charter a path which is about how we can develop our nations ourselves. It is not right for a country like Ghana, 60 years after independence, to still have its health and education budgets being financed on the basis of the generosity and charity of European taxpayers. By now, we should be able to finance our basic needs ourselves. And if we are going to look at the next 60 years as a period of transition, a period whereby we can stand on our own feet, our perspective has not to be what the French taxpayer decides to do with whatever set.
There is no France without Africa. The day Africa liberates itself from France, France will collapse as a country, because France, it is based on everything African. They don't have anything to offer to themselves. They keep on taking from Africa. So please, let's make sure that we plow the idea of African unity. We may not be there when Africa gets one president, but we'll be the ones who have planted that idea amongst our children, and our children will salute us.
Thank you, Jonas Malema, for this great information. But again, I will appreciate all the Africans and the contribution that Africans are giving out today. It's true that maybe we will not be there when the Africa will achieve the agenda of uniting, of the African unity. Maybe we will not be there when Africa get the one presidency, one president, one army, one currency. Maybe we will not be there. But again, the people that will be there will salute for the plant that we are putting the seeds on the soil today. Today, let me remind you, we are coming here to speak about the pan-Africanist because of some people who started these movements. We are coming here today to speak about the unity of Africa, the freedom, the independent, because of some great Africans who had the same vision, who had the same agenda of the African unity. And this is the same unity agendas that we, as Pan-Africans, we are trying to achieve, to make it or to push it happen.
There is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that, after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs.
We are coming here to speak about the Kwame Nkrumah agenda. We are coming here to speak about the Malcolm X Jr., the Martin Luther King. We are coming here to speak about the Patrice Lumumba agenda. And the today's generation is the fruit that came from those generation, from those seeds. That's why today we are watching things are happening in Africa. That's why we're watching things are happening. And all that is happening, maybe some people are like so wondering how things are happening. How can this be possible? It is not accidentally. This is something that was planned. This is something that people had an agenda, had vision towards it. This is something that makes some people lose their life because of what is happening today. Sometimes I always say that I love to see all those great leaders who are fighting for Africa, who lost their life just because of the fighting for the African unity, experiencing and watching all that is happening today in African land. But because they are not able to see this, we believe that their spirits are watching over and they are happy whenever they are to see the progress of African continent and the achievement that Africa is making. And now,
let's try this for a change. Get out of our minds. Deploy your armed forces. Stop giving us aid that has economically denigrating conditions. And stop using our leaders as puppets. And let's see if there'll still be a third world. The Mutanda mines of Congo generate $72 billion in revenue, yet Glencoe, Switzerland owns 95%. Congo gets how much of the revenue in question? 3.5%. France still maintains strategic monetary control over former French colonies who still use the French franc through what they have propagated to be monetary agreements. This garners France almost 50% of what is generated from the foreign exchange reserves, which is on average about 9.5 billion euros from the poorest countries in the world. Don't even get me started on Europe's military insistence in Gabon's oil plant. They have used this military presence in the facilitation of oil refinery as a gateway for massive exploitation. The most important thing to keep in mind here is behind all these numbers, figures, and foreign relations are actual people squandering in dire poverty. Not only do we need more Ibrahims, we also need Europe to stop.
But this, Pierre Lumumba once said that the day that Africa will be able to liberate and free themselves from the hands of former colonizers, then these great empires that we are watching today, that has been oppressed, that have oppressed the African continent and the black people in general for so long, they will suffer, they will crumble, they will perish. And now, it is not far from the time people have been speaking about this. It has not gone far from the time the people are talking about the freedom of Africa. It has not gone far from the time the pan-Africanists and the many people, philosophers have been predicting about the freedom of Africa and the collapsing of empires. It has not gone far. I've born, and since the time I've come to realize to start following up the history of Africa, that's when I started to see things happening. And from there, I had a strong feeling, and I believe that one day something will come to happen. So I used to come and follow up all these histories and how the content creators are coming to present these kind of videos. And I was like, will this come to happen one day? Or this is just a story that people are coming to make? But it has not gone that far. When today I am experiencing before my eyes how things are working.
The France that you see now is a France that is built on the back of those colonies. They were harsh because their very survival depended on these colonies.
So today we can experience all that's happening. The empires are collapsing, they are falling. And now the great Africa is rising, is developing, and the people are coming to unite. Today, all we can say is that the black people, we have to agree that the black people across the world have united. The problem comes to the African leaders, because now African leaders have become a problem, a disease that's now continuing to consume the African continent and its people. Because today, all the leaders that we have been believing that they are the democratic leader to help their people and maybe bring revolution and change to Africa, they're the same people who are now consuming and taking down the agenda and dreams of African continent. And now we've seen the leaders like Ibrahim Traore. Since he came to power, a lot of change came and was experienced here in Africa. We had many pan-Africanists. We had many revolutionary leaders who rise up because of the example of Ibrahim Traore. And now, today we are watching African news. What are they are doing? We are experiencing the African Gen Zs, how they're handling things, how they're liberating their countries, how they're fighting to make sure that change is here without fear and without anything to be told. The African youth have decided that this is the way we have to go. We had some great people who were there fighting for the African. They even lost their life just to make sure that I and you get the best life, the best African continent. And despite, even though they never achieved, but they took Africa in a certain place where they died believing that the coming generation will come to achieve their agendas and achieve their dreams. So the power of Kwame Nkrumah today is still living and fighting through Africans. The power of Patrice Lumumba never rested, but is today existing and fighting through the African youths. Today, what's happening? This is not something to be told. This is not a story that you are reading from the novels or books. But this is something that I and you, we are experiencing, watching happening. We are watching this happening before our eyes. Tell me, if you ever imagine that some things like this will come to happen, because now power is shifting. The prediction and the prophecy of power shifting was there before, and our enslaved people believed in that. And now today we are experiencing how power is shifting and has already shifted from the whites to the black. And now the black are the one we are expecting to see, the black power and the black leadership, the black new world order by 2050. So all that is happening today is something that was planned. It's because that the time was never yet there. But today, as we see this, like the time has come, and now we are here to support it. We are here to do all that we can do to make it succeed. Because we can't say that we are using we are using our energy or our strength to go and fight for these battles. Because we as African, the African continent today cannot go and fight against America. It is impossible. When we say that Africa to face a battle with America or UK or France physically, it is impossible. But because of the African youth and the prophecies that were there, that's why today we are watching Africa winning, Africa progressing, and the people who have been oppressing Africa for so long, the black people being oppressed, being tired of all that's happening today, because they are no longer today able to fight for themselves, to provide for themselves, because they build their empires through the back of other people. They build their cities, their great countries through other people's sweat, blood, and torture. And now today, this is the back time. This is the payback time. So all that is happening because it was expected to happen, but has not just come to happen accidentally. Just tell them to have the conversation. If you really are black man and believe in the African unity, let's move together. Let's spread positivity towards Africa. Let's support the leaders who are fighting to achieve the agenda of Kwame Nkrumah, because this is what their agenda they died fighting for. Until next time, let's meet on the comment section and on the next episode. Be blessed, reaching from. I love you and appreciate you so much.